welcome to another vlog. So we are off today to two jobs, which are not the most complex jobs in the world. That's what I gotta say right off the bat. First of all, what we're doing is we're replacing an escutcheon plate for a really old Moen shower control valve. Now, I almost didn't find this thing. I went to my supplier and he was an absolute sweetheart. He even called Moen for us, and I spoke to Moen directly and they were able to get this. This is the escutcheon plate. This plate is extremely old. They have newer versions of it, but if you can see, it has two little holes here which allow two screws to thread into. It's so cold right now, you can see my breath. We're dealing with minus 20 degrees right now, and it's like a vicious, humid minus 20 degrees. Sorry about the breath. I hope it's not too distracting. But Moen had it, and they sent it out to me. It was a little bit expensive, but I'm happy that I got it. I'm able to go in there and swap this out. It's not going to be too complex, but whenever I say that, I tend to run into some issues that I never foresee, so hopefully I didn't jinx myself. That's number one. And the second job site we're going today is we're heading to downtown Toronto, and we're going to be replacing a kitchen faucet. Alright peeps, I just want to talk to you about a couple of small fine details that you're going to see in this video. I'm going to be using a Moen 1225B cartridge in this video. I forgot that the lady needed a cartridge swapped out, but what you're going to notice is I'm going to disassemble this cartridge, and I'm actually going to clean out the inside with a lot of tissue paper. I'm using actually kind of like a Bounty kind of paper in this situation, and the reason why I do that is because they are very thoroughly greased up when you get them, and I've been taught that you got to clean out all that grease, because especially in vertical applications, if you have some sort of lever that opens upwards, that grease is so much, it's so abundant with it, that it'll actually come down and shut on its own. I've seen even ones kind of like the one I just did, where you pull it out and it starts to slide back in. So I've been taught by my journeyman to take this out, disassemble it, clean it off thoroughly, add your own grease, and then move forward in the rest of the installation basically. So this is the escutcheon plate that that I'm switching out essentially, and it's missing something, if you know what I'm saying. You know, let me know down in the comments below what you think happened here. My best guess is that it was over tightened and somehow it ended up snapping upon having different types of strain on it essentially. So where the two screws come in is where it exactly broke. And what I noticed with the one that I just installed was that as I'm tightening it, it's getting tighter and tighter, especially in this region right here, and it's pulling it in taut, but the top portion is still having a little bit of a gap at the top. So what I opted to do was, instead of over tighten this and have this potentially happen in the future, I tightened it so that it was taut, and then I put a bead of silicone around it. That way any water that comes down this way will not actually go inside. And I think that's why the over tightening took place, because it's a little bit imbalanced of an area to tighten. As you tighten this direction, you might tighten the bottom portion, but the top portion doesn't actually tighten, and maybe even a gap starts to form because of where the two screws are. So that's the first job site. Let's run out to the next one. I'm gonna have some lunch first. Let's go. Alrighty, and just like that, we are done. A whole day of plumbing. Just a couple of things that I wanted to bring up about the last job. You saw me replace one faucet for another, kitchen faucet, single hole, so I didn't have to use the plate that it came with. But I wanted to show you this. You might have seen this when I went up there. This is just a safety precaution. What this essentially is, it's a plate to put underneath the countertop if it's been compromised. So for example, sometimes you get a type of board that if it gets wet, it starts to crumble from underneath. And whenever that happens and you try mounting the faucet, what you'll notice is the faucet can't mount because there's nothing solid to actually mount to. So by taking this upstairs, it was just a safety precaution, because if I ran into a countertop like that, I can put this underneath, reinforcing whatever is underneath the countertop, and then mount the actual faucet to this metal plate right here. That's its intended purpose. That's why it's got 3 holes, and that's what its design is for. And that's why I brought it upstairs, because I didn't know what I was going to run into up there. I have to say that was a pretty straightforward swap. The other thing that we have to note is that drain had a lot of red flags to it. If you notice, there was a lot of deterioration. and a lot of crumbling taking place. And before I even had an opportunity to approach the customer about it, they approached me about it. And they basically said, somebody told me that the drain's looking bad. So I pointed out the obvious areas that were red flags and said to them, look, it's probably within the time to start thinking about getting it done, because you have no idea when this is going to deteriorate to the point where you can't use it anymore, where it starts dripping or leaking profusely. But they were ahead of the game. They were already like, yeah, just send me a quote as soon as you get home or whenever you get a chance to run the supplier. So maybe within the next couple of vlogs, you'll see me doing a kitchen drain, and it might be this one right here. So peeps, I hope you learned something new. Just another day in the life of a plumber. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell notification so you know exactly when we're getting vlogs, smash that thumbs up button, share with friends, and I'll see you plumbers very soon. Candy Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.